Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Three Men in Football. How you doing, Daz? How you doing, Tom?
Thomas, Simon, we okay? Good?
Right, boys, how are we?
Good, thanks.
Having a good week?
An interesting week. I don't know if it's a good one.
You back in school, Daz?
Yeah, back in school, but who knows, I could be off again soon. Yeah. I'm basically working like shift work, 1 week in, 1 week off. And we'll see how it goes, you know.
It's nothing new, you're a teacher.
Don't you start.
He's on holiday for 50% of the year. Yeah. It's crazy what's going on though. So we've just gone into this tier 3 lockdown, where all the pubs have closed. Restaurants can only open pubs can only open if they're serving food, and you have a main meal and a drink, and I don't know. It's all a little bit confusing.
Yeah, you just know though, every pub's going to serve chips with a fairy cake.
I've seen some brilliant things this week. I've seen one today. Our new best meal was 2 pieces of bread and a can of beer in the middle of it. Yeah, it's gone a little bit crazy. Well, listen, we're going to confuse people even more now. So over the last, it's like 6 or 7 months we've been doing this.
Yeah.
We've talked about Billy Birch, the famous Billy Birch, loads. And generally we're giving him crap because he managed the team that Darren and I played for years. He is the chairman of the club, South Liverpool, who we now play for, and Thomas is a manager of the vets team. And, you know, he's become our really good mate over the years. And we've had many a good memory with him around football and away from football. But he's a character as well. He knows everyone. He's been a referee. He's refereed at the top level. He's got plenty of stories. So we figured we'd get him on and give him a chance to tell us all about his life in football. This one could be really interesting.
It could be, and it's either going to be brilliant or we might have to cut it short.
I'm not going to lie, I brought a pillow to stick under my ass.
Yeah, the man can talk. You just get him going, and he remembers everything. His memory is unbelievable. So we literally could be here for hours.
Yeah, this is part 1 of 7, is it, Simon?
How many volumes are we going to have to do?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get over to get Billy on and give him a chance to tell us what he thinks and give us a potted history of his life in football. Hello, Billy, and welcome to the Three Men in Football podcast. How you doing, mate?
I'm okay, so and you?
I'm saying that as if, like, we haven't just spent the last 20 minutes trying to get you set up technically. We've had try and find the settings. Let's see if we can see where.
I'm not great on the old computers, as you will know. So
you've done well. You might notice these 2 reprobates that you've had to spend many years hanging around. I've got a load of questions lined up for you, and I've got some bad ones apparently, Bill.
I wouldn't expect anything else, to be honest. Like, you know,
Billy, I was loyal to you till I made that speech in a game. We'll probably talk about that later.
So, Bill, we've talked about you being the boss at South Liverpool, and how's it going setting up what's going on Saturday? Because it seems like it's a bit of a nightmare because, you know, we've all been waiting for the County FA to come out. We've gone into this tier 3 lockdown in Liverpool. Everything functioning well? Are we good?
Well, the first team have now had the game switched to Aintree Villa. They're supposed to play Upton at home. They've got COVID problems. The Rezzies are in limbo at the moment because we're supposed to be playing Neston Nomads, who've lost for some reason. Have lost their facility at Vauxhall Motor, so I don't know what's gone on there.
Yeah.
So we're a bit as I say, stuck between a rock and a hard place at the moment. But I know the vets, they're okay. Yours good to go. It's just a case of taking each day as it comes, because the left handers know what the right hand's doing. You know, from Parliament right the way through, do they? Like, you know, it's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, it seemed like when the guidance come out earlier in the week, it seemed pretty clear that organised sports was allowed in tier 3. But then, as the week went on, it became more and more apparent that actually no one in the County FA thought that guidance was clear and was still waiting for some sort of sign off. And then eventually it came late yesterday, didn't it?
Well, it's come through today, basically. You know, there's a lot of lads like Roachy's old fella saying, why are they closing the gyms? Because Barry goes to the gym all the time. And he said, every time a piece of equipment gets used, it gets sanitised.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just the left-handers know what the right-hand's doing. And it's been like that for a long time in football, I think. Never mind. I think, well, it's been like that in the whole country. The left-handers know what the right-hand's doing.
Yeah.
Who's got the answers? Because the guidance has been bloody shocking right the way through, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, this last 6 months. So as I say, it's just day to day at the moment, like, you know.
Yeah.
Just on that, Bill, I think your issue there with the gyms is a valid one, because I think the mental health, people were struggling at the first lockdown, and as it went on, people were struggling, and opening the gyms up actually helped. You have to have a booking system, things get clean, and it's the same. You know, you're looking at football. I work in a school, as you know, and Monday to Friday I don't go out anywhere. I just come home from school and I stay in. My freedom is playing football at the weekend. That's my sanity, and I need that. And then on a Sunday, you know, I'll go for a run or whatever. But we need to have that physical health as well, because it helps. It helps with our mental health to go and do some sort of active sport. And I think that's really crucial. I think things will change, hopefully, in the next 2 or 3 weeks, which is what we need.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It's hard though, isn't it? Because the reality is that, to Billy's point, who knows what's going on at the moment? It seems like the government are really struggling with decision making, and then, you know, you've got things like Andy Burnham coming out today and pushing back on Manchester going into Tier 3, and I think it's great that he's supporting the city and he's pushing for them to be supported financially. But at what stage does local outweigh central or central outweigh local? That just seems like it's going to go on until someone backs down, and it's going to eventually have to be local. So I don't know how long that's going to last. But the reality is, we all know we've got challenges with who's representing us in this city. So it looked like they backed down pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's what you call it. I'm no fan of Anderson at all. And I think, like, he's, you know, he said it wasn't negotiable.
Yeah.
We're going into Tier 3. Everything in life's negotiable, mate. You know that. I know that. You know, there's got to be a middle ground, and he's trying to blame the government, and like the likes of Andy Burnham has made a stand, and he's a Scouser. He's making a stand for Manchester. You know, I think the big problem with this, I'm not going to get on my political IOs, but when they opened the footy stars, they opened the pubs, they opened the restaurants, there was no great spike. But Anderson's built that much students' accommodation that was going to lay empty. He was welcoming the students back.
Yeah. Tuesday
night in Concert Square is always a student night, and they were out singing and dancing, this, that and the other, and it was blamed on the run of the Everyday Scouts, and it wasn't. There was no one there under the age of 22. They were all students, Freshers Week and all that, so consequently the spike's gone up.
Yeah. Just on that, since when did this podcast become a poor man's question time?
Four Scousers talking about political issues.
We need to sort that out quite quickly, lads.
All right, let's get off it. So, Bill, so we talk about you quite a lot on the podcast, generally in some level of derision. So we're normally having a go at you in some way and taking the piss, only because you have of us for many years. But just to give people an idea who you are, me and Darren have played football for you for many years as a manager at the Xavs, and now you're the chairman of South Liverpool, who we play for in the Vets. Thomas is obviously the manager of the Vets team. And so we've known each other for many years. We're good mates. We get on very well. We've had many a memory together. But one of the things that we haven't talked a massive amount about is your playing days. So we talk a lot about your managing days, referee and that kind of stuff. We haven't talked much about your playing days. So where did you start playing football, and who were you playing for? I know there's Mossley in there somewhere, but how did it all start?
I lived on the Countess Road, and there used to be a big field on the back. So we moved there when I was about 4 or 5. So there was always a game of football going on every night. So that's basically when I was 5 or 6, played football constantly. And then went to Corinthian Avenue, went through the infants, and in the juniors, we had the football side. I played in goal for Corinthian Avenue juniors, but at the same time, I was in the Life Boys in the 16th on Green Lane, the Bethel Church, and we had a very, very good side, and we won the Life Boy Cup. But the only problem is we had 11 players and 2 goalies, me and this other lad. So I always remember the lad's name, Charlie Gawthorne. And we had a couple of other good lads who I played with later on. Aris Villa, Colin Flynn, and Colin Shannon, both all good stock. But I wanted to play centre forward. So
stop there, Bill. Bill, stop there. Stop there. Thank goodness you were a goalie.
But the rider to that is, I played centre forward, and I had a little inside right who played alongside me. It was Stevie Coppell.
Really?
Yeah. Not many fellas can say you've been the strike force with an England international.
Nice.
Yeah. That year we won the Lifebuoy Cup. Just tell you about Cop.
Hang on. Cop.
Yeah, no, I best mates with him now.
He when we went to senior school, I went to Highfield. Cop was a very clever lad. He went to Quarry Bank, and we used to come across each other in the block fixtures and all that. He was absolutely superb then. But he never got picked for England's the Liverpool schoolboys because of what Joe Royle had done. Now Joe Royle went to Quarry Bank. It was expected to stay on and take his A levels and this, that, and the other. Everton offered him an apprenticeship. He took the apprenticeship and been to schools. So the headmaster at Quarry Bank banned any players from Quarry Bank playing for the schoolboys. And that went on for about, maybe he missed out on it. So there was lads, Joe Gallagher ended up making pro, Billy Rodaway, captain England schoolboys. He had a good career at Burnley, but Cop would have got that if he didn't play for the schoolboys. Yeah. And he only got picked up playing for Norris Green Boys Club in the final of the MYA Trophy at Anfield against Tubruk. I was at the game. I was like 17. I was watching it. And in fact, Chris McHale's old fella played for Tubruk. He got picked up by Tranmere, and then he went on to play for Man Utd in England and all that. But going back to the Highfield school side, we had an exceptional school side. There was 4 major cup competitions over the 4 years. The first year was the Intermediate Cup. We beat John Hamilton in the final at Penny Lane 2-1. Then the following year was the Senior Cup. And John Hamilton got the revenge on us in the semi-final. He beat us. The following year was the big one, the Echo Cup.
Oh my God, we've heard so much about this Echo Cup.
I haven't heard a thing.
Oh,
Thomas,
don't ask.
Thomas, there's been fights in changing rooms. There's been lorries getting ordered. There's been all sorts going on. I'd like to end the podcast now, Simon, while we're still friends.
So,
all right, Bill, tell us the Echo Cup story.
Anyway, we beat De La Salle in the final at Penny Lane. We beat them 3-2. And Darren's uncle, Danny, little fat fella, all left peg, scored a hat-trick in the final. Now, I wonder who inherited his genes then.
That's our Paul, isn't it?
For the record, it definitely wasn't me.
The funniest thing was...
Let's stop on the Echo Cup for a minute, though, because roll the clock forward, and we're arguing in the dressing room at the Xavs about tactics and who knows tactics better than anyone else. And you pull out the classic, let's get out our medals then. I don't see anyone else having an Echo Cup medal. Literally, argument dead immediately. It couldn't go any further. Absolute genius.
It was great because we all we got the cup and everything. And the funniest thing was we'd have 4 lads, including your Uncle Danny, in the schoolboy squad, and we played West Derby about a month before, and it was a local derby, bit of a ding-dong. And Tom Saunders, who's the teacher at West Derby, come in to our change room after the game and said, "You 4 are a disgrace. Don't turn up at the schoolboys again." Anyway, after the game, Tom Saunders come into to the changing room at Penny Lane. I went, "I've had a rethink. I want the 4 of you back." You know what the reaction was? You can imagine what your Danny said there, Darren. So they missed out over that. But the funniest thing was we went to the Tudor rooms and we had a nice meal. Chris Lawler presented the cup and the medals and all that. And the next day, we were in front of the school, and I feel that there was over 1,000 pupils, and we were all on the stage. And they were saying, "Oh, what a credit to the school you are. This is the first time we've ever won it, and this, that, and the other." Anyway, we all got applauded off. Like, it's like we were getting knighted, to be honest. Like, you know. And then 12 months later, quarter final of the Martindale Cup, we got 3 cents off against Newhays, a lad called Jeff Swede, who was one on Evertonsburg, absolutely tore us to bits. We had 3 cents off. That was on the Saturday. On the Monday morning, we were all on the stage again. You're a disgrace to the school. And he just wrapped the team up right away. We never ever kicked the ball for Highfield again. After you know what
how old were you then, Bill? 15, 16?
We won the FA Cup when we were 14, so I was 15. Yeah.
And so then the football stopped at school, and then was it a long time before you went into refereeing, and did you go straight into playing?
Oh no, I carried on playing. So I signed on for Old Xav Boys Club, and I got asked to go to Everton actually. And I played a couple of games for Everton. Believe it or not, Everton had a team in the Liverpool Sunday League then, in about the 4th or 5th division, where they used to allow all the trialists to play, like, you know. So I had a couple of games for them. And then the following year, one of the lads said, South Liverpool is starting the youth side up in the new Sunday League youth division. So a load of us who were at Everton went to South. And we had a bloody good side.
Billy, sorry. At that time, South were quite a well-known, established team, weren't they? Yeah.
Well, we started with the South training in July, and then we all were told we had to go and watch South play Tranmere in the FA Cup. So we all got in. We acted like ball boys and stewards and this, that, and the other, because there was a few thousand there. Because Ron Yeats was player manager. Ron Yeats, the Saint, Tommy Lawrence, and all that. So that was the first year playing youth team football. Oh, it was my only year playing youth team football. But we went on to win the Lancashire Youth Cup, and we would have won the league that year as well. But we got blew up for playing an overage player.
It's unlike you, Bill.
Cheats.
You know who it was? Phil Lundy, the Colonel.
The Colonel.
He had to be under 18 on the 1st of September, and he was 18 in August sometime. So we played this team, and it was the Leicester who actually pipped us for the league. We drew, and they blew us up because one of the lads who played said, "Phil, he's in the year above us." So basically, they won the appeal, and they won the league by a point. But we went on that year, and we won the Lancashire Youth Cup, which we played 6 games. And the only goal we conceded was in the semi-final. We even went to Bearscough, and never had gloves those days. It was a bit of, you know, the way. We won the final 1-0 at Bearscough. Good old mate of mine, who comes to a few the South dues, Chris Daly. He scored the winner. But we had 3 or 4 lads who went then semi-pro in Australia, got jobs out there. Like called Stephen Moore. Now the Moore's family from Garston, very, very well known. Johnny Moore and Mickey Moore and all. I do like a football legend family. Another lad, Steve Short and John Kane, and they all went out to Australia, got jobs out there, all played semi-pro. And most probably the one that made it out the team was Joe Innigan, which was Ted's older brother.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and Joe got into the South first team, got transferred to Wigan, and Sunderland paid 135 grand for him. And he played in the same team as Sam Allardyce, believe it or not.
Wow.
I'm sorry to hear that. I hope he's okay.
He's recovered for 20 years.
And then, of course, I come out, I had to go open age. So I went from the youth division to the 1st division of the Sunday League. And that was an eye-opener. Yeah, playing against the likes of the Empress, who ended up as Dingle Rail, Canada, which was an unfortunate experience, you know. They were horrible. But it was, you know, you're going from youth football to men's football, and a few of the lads come with us. You know, it was an eye opener, because those days it was, you know, it was ruthless. Some of the tackles that used to go in and this, that, and the other, shocking.
And but, Billy, being a goalkeeper as well, they weren't afraid to leave a little on you, were they?
Oh no. But there again, I used to give a little bit out myself, you know, so you carte blanche like that those days, you know, fellows coming through, bang, you take them out. And there was no cautions or sending off, then it was just get up and get on with it, you know, proper football, Darren.
Yeah. Who were you playing for then, Bill?
I was playing for the Fairfield.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, based in Fairfield, but they used to run from the 149 club. Them and the Leicester used to run from both, and we used to play on the on Newton Park on the big pitch that went parallel with the road. It was really,
yeah.
really
Our viewers, Bill, will know that well.
Yeah.
Newton Park.
Yeah, just so you're aware, Bill.
Yeah, Bolton Lake, and
we've got people who listen to us from like all corners
Oh,
of the
yeah.
world, so they won't have a clue. However, it's a local park in Liverpool.
With a pitch on.
and we had to carry the goalposts about 200 yards and put them up, like, you know. So it was,
yeah, those are the days, Bill.
Oh,
and then,
yeah.
So then, how long did you spend in open age football?
Well, I floated around a few clubs in the Sunday League till I was like 27, and I started refereeing. But prior to that, I joined Mossley Hill, and on a Saturday in the Zingari, and it was Zingari 1, 2, and 3 then. And when I joined them, just been promoted to the second division, and I played with a few characters, Kenny Deacon, Keith Kirkpatrick, which is Kirky's our fellow, like, you know.
Oh, really?
Oh, honestly. Anyway, we got promoted again the first season. I joined them, and we were in the top division of the Zingari. Then you had like Merseyside Police and APH and Aintree Villa, who were the top dogs for many years. They were in there. And we went in there and we lost one game all season. That was to East Villa, funny enough. And we won the league by 6 points, which was like 2 points through. We won it by 36 points we won it on. And after 22 games, and Aintree Villa were runners up on 30. So it was like a 3-game spread. We won it, like, you know.
I mean, that league was brilliant then as well, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. And, well, I'm proud because I set a record that season, 14 goals against in the season. And also won it changed its name to the Zingari Prem. So I won it as a player. I won it twice as a manager. Like, so that's always been my cup, that trophy. Like, you know.
To be fair, Bill, that was us that won it.
This tactics does. What are you going to say, Tom?
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I retire in 5 months.
Yeah, well, I mean, the government changed the rules. I don't know how many times, so I don't know how old that is.
65.
65. Really? What a memory you've got. Listen, I can't remember what I had for me tea last night. I can't remember whether I changed my undies this morning. I literally can't remember. And you can remember how many goals you conceded, when you played, the month you played it, whether it was dry, whether it was wet. Unbelievable memory. Well in, Billy.
I only remember the good times, though, Tom.
Yeah, I was going to say, he hasn't mentioned anything negative yet. It's all being positive. But then you used to make, Mick Wickham used to keep, when we were at the Xavs, he used to keep a book with all the games and the goal scorers and all that in, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. But he was great number 2, Mick, wasn't he? Like,
brilliant.
You know, he was
brilliant. So how did you end up getting into management, Bill? Well, actually, let's go back. You goes into refereeing. At what stage did you go into refereeing? Because you ended up getting to the top level at refereeing. So how did you get into it? Well,
it was funny enough. I've been playing
at this stage, by the way, there's going to be a load of people who you've refed who will now be throwing things at whatever screen they're watching or listening to.
Well, it was funny because I used to drink in a little pub in Binns Road called The Railway. And the lad the manager of the Railway was a fella called Dennis Edwards, who was Jimmy Case's uncle. And further up the road, up Binns Road, there was a pub called The Rose. Anyway, they had a team in the Sunday League, and Dennis was having an argument with the manager of The Rose, saying the lads in the Railway would beat The Rose, and Rose Villa, and they were an established club. So I walked in the boozer on the Friday night, and he said, "Bill, can I have a word?" I said, "Yeah, I've got a challenge match week Sunday. Can you get a team up?" So I said, "Yeah, most probably, like, no problem." So I rang a few of the lads, got a few of the lads from the South Youth, and this, that, and the other. Anyway, we played The Rose in Botanic Park and beat them 5-1. So nice. We walked back into the pub, and and in the bar there used to be a few lads who had a few businesses, and he walked in and he said, "How much do you reckon to start a team off?" So I said, "About 800 quid, I suppose, 2 kits, balls, pitch fees and all that." He said, "Come in tomorrow, there'll be a check." We had an bus driver, bus conductor in there. He said he's going to be the treasurer and he's going to go around and open a bank account. So we said, all right. So I went back in and said, "Listen, do you want to stay together?" And all of us said, "Yeah." So we went before the Sunday League committee, started off in the 9th division of the Sunday League. It was called, you wouldn't let us call it the Railway because there was another already, a team called the Railway. So it was on the York Liverpool line, so they called it the York Railway FC. And we had that going for 4 years, but it was that 9th division, it was a brand new division. So who goes in it? Canada had come back in it after being kicked out. The Eagle put their second team in it. Broadway, it was all East Villa on the Saturday. It was a top draw division, mate. Honest to God. It was really,
The fact that a league had 9 divisions is crazy, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that shows how different it is today in comparison. How few you've got now and how many you had then.
Yeah, I think we finished runners up that year to Canada. Well, Canada were an established, basically, they were a Premier club. Yeah. That year, they got to the final of the Liverpool Sunday League Challenge Cup at Anfield and played Uglies. There used to be Uglies nightclub had a football team. Played Uglies in the final, we were in the 1st division, and they were in the 9th division.
Can I just say this, Bill? I well would have worked there. I'd have been ideal.
You'd have been their centre half, Daz.
Hey, well, Billy, I'm sure he asked you how you become a referee.
Talking about my management first. So
no,
basically,
about being a referee.
Yeah, but was it so? Which came first, though? Was it management and then refereeing, or?
Oh, management. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see. I thought because you got so far in refereeing, I thought you must have started it earlier.
No.
Right, so that's the first management role that you had.
And
Were you still playing at that stage, or just?
I was player manager. I was only 21, sorry.
But sorry, Bill. This could be a 3-part podcast. We might have to do it over like a couple of volumes just to get it all in. Yeah, join us next week when we do 15 to 25 years of Billy.
Anyway, being player manager and this, that, and the other, and helping out, and I thought we need to appoint a manager, so I'll just stay as secretary. So we appointed Nick Ryman, which was Martin's our fella.
Oh, really? Yeah. Martin, who's now the first team manager at the South.
Yeah, and we sacked him after 9 months. He was around the bend. All the lads that started the team said, I can't play under him. Anyway, when I just fast forward, when I rejoined the South in 2009, I shook hands with Martin. He said, Bill, I'm nothing like my old fella. Got that, Matt. So anyway, the railway side lasted about 4 years, and then I concentrated on playing Saturdays, and then we were at Mossley Hill, and there was a massive big fallout. We'd won the Zingari, we'd won the league, got to the semi-final Lancashire and the Junior Cup, appointed a new manager, and it went belly up, to be honest, and a load of us left. And my brother's team was just about to fold, so I said, I'll take him over. And all the lads joined us. We started off in the Zingari Alliance, and we approached the school, and we said, we want to start a Highfield Old Boys side off. And he said, yeah, great. And we went right through the Alliance. We only missed out going into the Premier Division on goal difference. And then I'd started refereeing. That started in 82, and I'd started refereeing in the Sunday League in 82. And then we had it going, and I got my Class 1 after 3 years. But I couldn't go nowhere because I wasn't refereeing Saturday, I was only refereeing Sundays. And then I got a bit of pressure from Arthur Derbyshire, God bless him, he's a great fella. He said, Bill, if you want to go anywhere, you've got to start refereeing Saturdays. So I'd done a season with the Zingari, got promoted to the North West Counties line, done 2 years on the line, then got promoted to the middle. And halfway through September, the refereeing season was February to February, so they could get all the marks together. So I'd done from August through to February in the middle of the North West Counties. And then next minute, drops on the mat, letter from the Football League. Congratulations, you've been promoted.
Wow.
Yeah. And
how did that feel, Bill? How did that feel?
Well, I'll tell you how it felt, Darren. I'd done every round of the PAA Cup, which is the Police Athletic Association Cup. And the final was at Anfield. I'd done the Merseyside against the RUC. And I had Big Kevin Warbrick on one line and Stevie Stewart on the other line, because I thought, I'll need a translator, like, you know. Anyway, George Todd rang me. He said, Bill, he said, I know you've done every game. We've got the final against Lancashire at Anfield, but it's got to be a Football League official. So I said, fine, George, no problem. He said, I want you and Kevin to do the line. Yeah, got John Richardson, who was a great mate of mine, great referee, John. He'd done the middle. Anyway, we had a big meal after the game. Lancashire won it 1-0 actually, and Bretty was playing, and him and the manager were up on the right. They'd be knocking 7 cans out of each other.
You don't want to fall out with Bretty, do you?
Bretty. Anyway, after the game, went upstairs in the candy lounge, like the chief constable of Dorset. He was a chairman of the competition. They were all there, all the scrambled egg on the shoulder and all that. Anyway, we got out there about 12 o'clock, and George Todd said to us, "Where are you going?" So we said, "I'm going to get a cab." George said, "It's all right, Fairfield. We're just going to come back. We're going to open Fairfield up."
Oh, nice.
So 12 o'clock, back at the police club, the keys open, shutters up, bars, the bars, the ale's flowing. So Rico, he liked to flash a few cards down, like, and he booked about 6 players in the game, like, you know. I was standing by the bar, and it was, "Excuse me, officer, what's that, referee? Did I caution you tonight?" He said, "You did, ref." He said, "Right, it's 3 pints of lager, but it's going in." We got out there about 5 o'clock in the morning, right? And I'm self-employed then, so I thought, I'm having the day off. My missus has gone to work. I went down about 12:30, and there's the letter from the Football League, or from the FA, to say I've been promoted to the Football League. And I went, shit, if that had arrived 24 hours, I'd have got Rico binned, and I'd have done the game. I'd have been in the middle. Yeah. There was some great characters in the 80s and the 90s. The referee in fraternity was absolutely, and they were tight as a drum. They all supported each other. They're really some good lads, you know, coming through. You know, and lads who come through, you know, we'll know young Jake Collin, you know, great lad. He come through in the 2000s, but he was on that same ilk. You know, somebody, you know, just care about themselves, like, you know, and this, that, and the other. But, you know, we had some real good. You know, you look at the Liverpool Sunday League panel. I was on the Football League. Bobby Pollock was on the Football League. Tony McGee. We all went out and done our Sunday games. We never forgot our. Like George Kane, great mate of mine, George. He was a Football League middleman from Crosby. He used to go out and do the Crosby League. You know, that generation of referees never forgot the roots. Like, you know.
But also, if you love doing it as well, then doing the Sunday is what you want to do, isn't it? But then, Bill, so then you went into the Football League, and what was it like? How many games did you do?
I don't
how regular did you do it?
4 seasons, just get 2 or 3 a month. You know, it was good.
Brilliant.
Met some characters like Uriah Rennie. Worked with Uriah, loads of great lad Uriah. Like, you know, he was sound. And Mike Riley. Now Mike Riley's the other referee, and I worked with Mike loads of times. We've become very, very good, very, very good mates. In fact, I'd done my last Football League game with Mike in '96. Yeah, so there was some really good lads on there, like, you know, really.
Yeah. So then, sorry, go on, Dad.
I was going to say, so Billy, how high did you actually get there in the Football League? Because people who are a certain age won't know there was football before the Premier League. So, but it used to be quite good, didn't it, the Football League? How high did you go?
Well, the year I got on, the Premier League had started, so they had like 2 panels. They had the elite panel, and then the lads who were coming through and all that. I was like, used to do, it was Division 1, 2, there was the Premier League, Division 1, 2 and 3. So you could go to like Burnley or Blackpool or Bury, down to Stoke, you know. So it was, you know, it was top level football league, like, you know, and it was good, really good. Like, you know, you had to be on your mettle. Pure concentration on the line, because basically to be a linesman, I think the ideal linesman would have had eyes like Marty Feldman, one going that way to see when the ball was kicked and one looking across, like, you know, your head was on a swivel all the time. But no, would have changed the minute of it. Well, it would have changed 1 minute of it, but... Did
you just do the Northwest, Billy?
Yeah, we used to get zoned. Some would go like up. If you got you go up to Carlisle, that was great. The X's were superb going up to Carlisle, like, and you go across as far as Huddersfield, down as far as Stoke. So it was that region, like, you know. But it was spot on. My first ever Football League game, you know, you think you've arrived, was Blackpool against Plymouth. And he got to the ground, and the 2 managers for Blackpool was Sam Allardyce and Peter Shilton for Plymouth.
God.
Yeah, so you think,
Wow.
yeah, with the big boys now. Like,
Yeah,
you know.
that's nice. So you've just mentioned, Bill, just brushed past it. You said you wouldn't change a minute, and then you stopped yourself and said, well, actually, maybe I would change a minute. So
Yeah, we know all that.
Yeah, we've heard this story before, probably about 50 times, but people who are listening may not have heard it. So tell us what happened in that minute.
Well, it was a League Cup. It was a Coca-Cola Cup game, or the old League Cup. Manchester United versus York, and I got an appointment at Old Trafford. Oh, great. Senior linesman. And anyway, York hadn't read the script. He went 1-0 up. And then halfway through the second half, a long ball got played. Fellow was just on, went through, got brought down, which I'll still say to this day, his front foot was on the penalty area. So to me, it constitutes a penalty. So the referee looked at me, threw me flag across the chest. Next minute, I've gone round to the goal line, I've got Beckham in my face. Dennis Irwin saying to me, he was on the line. I said, I know, Dennis, so it's a penalty. And, and anyway, the lad scored the penalty, a lad called Peter Barnes. And then there was an incident off the ball where Palace had checked a guy. I flagged for the free kick. The ball went over and they scored the third one. So you can imagine Ferguson wasn't very happy. And at the end of the season, I got my P45. I got stitched up, biggest stitch up ever. And it was by the Manchester Mafia, which was the Northwest Counties, because you had to be a contributory league referee to line on the Football League. They sent a letter through to me and said, thanks for your service, but you're no longer required. So I dug into it. Our own FA went berserk about it. I think there was 64 referees on the list, and I finished like 30th. But I'd done more games than any ref. I'd done 22 league games, 22 league and cup games. So, of course, the more you do, your average is going to come down, and it takes one bad mark. But I finished halfway, and they said it was because of my marks. Anyway, there was murder going on. There was clubs from all over the right end saying it's a stitch up and this, that, and the other. But there was a fella called Phil Morris. Now, he was head of the Manchester Mafia. Most horriblest man I've ever come across in football, and he was the referee's officer. But they were all in bed at Old Trafford, working behind the scenes and all that. So basically, my head was on the block from giving that penalty in the September, right towards the end of the season. The Football League didn't know nothing about it, and that or the FA. And that year, I'd done the FA Trophy semi-final on the line, and I'd done the line on the Northern Autoglass, Carlisle versus Rotherham. Carlisle, good X's. And Mike Riley was on the middle, and Chris Foy, who ended up going on to the Premier League, me and him were the two linesmen. So it did leave a bitter taste in my mouth. And this guy actually got kicked out of football, you know. And then done a come off, and then I'd done a couple of. I opened the sports shop then, and I was Saturdays. I was just doing local stuff, and I thought, no. And then I went out with Georgie Brash and Paul Formby for a meal with all the girls, and Formby said to me, "The Xavs are looking for a manager. Do you fancy it?" And that was 1998. And then, if I hadn't talked to Xav, I wouldn't be speaking to you. Wouldn't be speaking to Darren because
the rest is history, mate. Isn't it?
The rest is history. Yeah. But
that was the refereeing is maybe what you're most famous for, because everyone knows that story. Everyone's been refereed by you, and most people have been sent off by you. I think I've said this on the podcast before, but you sent my dad off 3 games in a row. He still holds it against you.
And he never appealed against one of them because of respect.
Because he couldn't see. You know, he's like, mate, as soon as he takes his glasses off, he can't see a thing. But that's why people know you. But for us, it was more about the Xavs. So I played for the Xavs for, had to be 23 till 30, maybe 33, 34. No, actually, no, I was still playing at 35. So I played for the Xavs for like...
I remember signing you. I signed Andy Baxter as well.
Yeah.
That was 1999, 2000. It was 99, 2000, yeah, because 2000 and 2001, I signed Alex Ferguson and Paul Parker. That's when we started building the side up. So we had 2 years of consolidation.
Bill, can I just stop you there? I don't want to hone on this parade, but you never mentioned me.
But when did you get signed? What year were you?
He signed Paul. He signed Paul first. He came to my mum and dad's house. I'm telling the story now, Bill. He came to my mum and dad's house. He knew I was floating around, but he didn't know anything about me. But he'd heard about how good Paul was. And we came as a package. Paul wouldn't come unless I went along with him. And
No.
Billy was forced to take me on board.
Brilliant.
Because Paul was we all know how good Paul was, and we all laugh about it on the podcast about his hot dogs and burger days. But it was just, and I turned up and played for Billy, and at left back at one point, Bill. I was your left back.
A left back.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you the story because you just got you were at uni and you just got a job. And you were at you were at Manweb, and there were 3 o'clock kickoffs in the West Cheshire. So you wanted a half-2 kickoff. So I signed you, hoping that you're going to be what you got there week in and week out. That was I think 99.
Yeah.
It was before Paul, and then you got a job in bloody B&Q and only played every bloody 2 months or something like that. Like, you know, I think when you graduated uni, and that's when you give it the full hit. Then Daz,
But I remember Darren in my first couple of years. Darren was one of those players that you'd bring in, and it'd be hilarious because he wouldn't have played for 3 weeks, and then he'd turn up and he'd be in at left back. Absolute genius.
Well, that was. He was a good mate of Chris McHale's as well, Darren.
So Chris McHale, for those who don't know, Chris McHale is a centre forward who played for us for a while, but then went and played. Where was he at? Was he out like Skem or St. Helens or something like that?
He went to Birch and won the FA Trophy at Birch when Sean Teal was the manager, yeah.
But then Billy used to bring him in to play in the big games. It was brilliant. All of a sudden, Chris McHale had just turned up and he'd be playing centre forward.
I have to say though, Si, I think Billy's recruitment was phenomenal during those years. I think, Billy, did you do the university games on the Wednesday?
Yeah. That's where I picked Adam Jones up from.
Quality football.
Adam Jones was playing. It was a Liverpool University 4th 11 against someone, and Adam was playing. And I said to this fella on the line, I said, "God, this lad's got something about him, hasn't he?" And he said, "That's my son." So I said, "I'll speak to you at half time."
Brilliant.
So found out. Adam Jones' dad was George Jones, who played for Liverpool schoolboys, played for England schoolboys, and he was all set to break into the first team at Bolton and broke his leg and finished him. So that was Adam's dad, like, you know. So he had a bit of pedigree, Adam. I always remember the year we won the league for the last ever Zingari Premier League game. It was against Red Rum, and Adam scored the first 2 goals that night. We beat him 4-1. Adam scored the first 2 goals. And looking at the stats for the season, he played left-hand side of midfield. He scored 19 goals that season. So,
he did great.
He was great. Yeah. He never said, you know, you could give him a rollick and he'd never answer you back. He'd never speak to anyone, would he?
The best I ever got from Adam was we were playing up in Crosby Way or Bootle Way, something like that. He'd scored a hat-trick the week before and you dropped him.
Yeah. On his toes, that's.
It was brilliant.
Hey, Billy. Why didn't you ever sign me?
What?
You're not a footballer, Tom. You're a lover, not a footballer.
And then, Billy, another thing when you find the words to answer that question is how you've got the goal to just stand there and just drop lads that have been performing week in and week out for someone that hasn't been there for months or weeks for a game. I've got no idea. Literally, there'll be nothing on the line on the game at the weekend coming, and I won't sleep for 2 nights thinking who am I going to play and who am I going to upset by dropping. And you will just literally come and have 6 lads on the line and just not be a bit put out. It's a skill I've never mastered.
Being cold, thick-skinned, and no, I used to rotate. You know, we laugh about this, that, and the other, but I used to rotate because I had 18 good players at the Xavs. Oh, I had 17 good players. We used to have a drunk called Tony Healy, but he's still brilliant. And you know, and then at the end of the season when we were going for honours, Ryan McMahon would be available because he'd finished, and he was eager to, and he was like a breath of fresh air for the changing room. You know, Ryan.
Yeah.
Anywhere except in goal. But,
he just wanted to play up front or centre half.
He was great, but we used to freshen it up, like, you know, and it was rotation. We were all mates, and you know that was it. We had a great 5 or 6 years, like, you know.
But Bill, you had a punch on for changing positions for players, didn't you? So I started. You signed me as a centre forward, and by the end of it, I was playing centre half.
Same with Ben.
Exactly, yeah. Same with Ben Williams. Signed as a centre forward, ended up playing centre half.
Versatility, mate, isn't it? Paddy O'Allen was the same, wasn't he? Right back, centre half.
To be fair, mate, you turned me into a centre mid. Definitely, I would have never played. I'd have stayed up front, and I was never a forward, really. I was much better as centre mid.
There was only one fella I couldn't really turn into another type of player. And Darren will bear me out. That game at Quarry Bank where I said to Maloney, Dave, play centre midfield. And after 20 minutes, I said, Dave, get in the back four, Darren. Let's have a bit of guy on the centre midfield. And Maloney just went, yeah, okay, I'm going.
But he was headless, wasn't he? He was one of those players that just played on instinct.
Oh, yeah. He was a good player, Dave. Quick. He was solid,
Dave, I love playing alongside Dave because he would just do everything I asked him to. And it was 100%, and he'd win headers, he'd tackle. He knew his ability, and he'd pass me the ball, and I'd pass it to someone else very quickly.
Matty Kearney.
Yeah.
No, we had a quality team then, didn't we?
Yeah, well, that was another one talking about recruitment. So I was refereeing Matty. He was at the Peter Lloyd Centre Thursday night on a Sunday league game end of season. And I thought, bloody hell, he's a player, this lad, And I said to him, what's your name? He said, what have I done? I said, no, I want your name and phone number. Because, do you play Saturdays? And he said, no. I said, where do you live? He said, Egbert. So I said, well, do you fancy signing for the Xavs? He said, all right. And I phoned him a few weeks later, and I said, we're starting pre-season. He said, right, I'll be there. And the rest is history. But we used to always say to Matty, didn't we? Because his brother Tom was a pro at Everton. Yeah. His sister Gillian Kearney was the actress.
Yeah.
Done all kinds. Like, I used to say to me, the only one in your family who's not famous, aren't you? And you go, yeah.
What a player he was. No, he was unbelievable. You've got to think that if he was a little bit taller, he'd have probably been picked up, surely. A lot of players had that problem where football at that stage, you had to be 6 foot, you had to be able to put yourself about, you had to have a presence. But in terms of ability and on the ball and presence in a game, he was unbelievable.
Oh, he used to punch. He used to punch his weight, didn't he? He wouldn't. He wouldn't like to go in for a fellow who was he was another little Billy Bremner, to be honest, like 5 foot. And any 50-50 bang, he'd come out with it like he was a star player, Matty.
Yeah,
he'd get it. And we get Adam going down one flank, and a bit later on we had Mark Mather, who was a speed merchant, going down the other flank. And Matty'd win it, and you'd win it, and give it to them, and the rest they'd go and do the rest. We
had a few years there as it was coming towards the end of the Zingari, where we were a quality team. I'd have put us man for man up against any team in the city, and there were good teams in the city then as well. You look at what was going on in the county comp. There was quality teams, but I'd put us up against them, no problem.
Oh, they always knew when they played the Xavs. Well, we played St Dominic's, or even the Lord Mayor's Charity Shield, where the Dock beat us 1-0. They always knew they were going to get in for a game against the Xavs. I personally didn't agree with the merger. I think it was just to bail the county common, because the county common was on its arse. Yeah. The Zingari had 3 full divisions and 3 full divisions in the comp, the reserve, and we got lied to basically for the merger, and I don't think the Zingari lost its identity. And I was always a Zingari man, played me football in the Zingari, refereed in the Zingari, and it was a sad day. Really,
I remember for years we used to talk about, we were in the Zingari. There were quality teams in the Zingari, and we thought it was a great league. But there was also this county comp going on, which some of us had played in before, and there was always that chat about should we be in a county comp, should we be in the Zingari. But when we played against the county comp teams, they were no better than the Zingari teams.
No, and I think the good thing about what I was proud of running the Xavs, we knocked APH off the perch because they were winning it year, and we really did. Remember, we went to I think it's the first year you joined, and we went to Sudley and we beat. You scored actually, Simon. We beat them.
Billy, we don't bring stuff up like that on this podcast.
That was the one where I nutmegged Gary Ray, and he chased me around the pitch. He was the guy, I grew up with Gary Ray, one of my best mates, and he was absolutely brilliant footballer. He was fuming, nutmegged him in the middle of the park, and he chased me everywhere.
Oh, they had to go to Peter Jones up front and Quayle and all that.
What a team they had. Who was the lad who played in centre mid who ended up going to Everton as a physio? Short fella, dark hair.
Jimmy Comer.
Brilliant player.
Yeah. Oh, well, he was an apprentice at Liverpool and all that. Jimmy, the good Petty. Yeah, he's like the masseuse at Everton. He's still there now.
Quality footballer. But we had a good team. I mean, APH were quality at the time, and even the years when we were doing well, APH always had a decent team. They've now come back. I mean, they've joined the over 35s with a team, and it looks like they've got a great setup there as well. They've got a load of the old lads back. It's good to see them going again. Obviously, many years down the road, but people like Jared Smith and Steve Noon and people like that are playing for them.
Oh, Steve Noon playing for them?
Yeah. He's back playing. And apparently he's doing really well as well. But in that, Steve will look like an absolute superstar because he's young as well, isn't he? He's only just at the age, so he's really fit. And he's great on the ball as well, so he'll do well for them.
I went past the ground the other week when I was working in the pool. It's quite neat and tidy.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, a little stand and all that. Yeah,
it looks really good.
The pitch isn't that big though. I think it's only about 85 meters.
Yeah, it's small. Yeah,
that's football,
no, it's good.
This is my big concern with all the 3Gs. These lads who are like 19 and 20. They won't be playing vets football because they'll have no joints left.
No,
you're lucky enough. You played out on grass all the way through, but it's unforgiving that 3G sometimes. Especially when the lads are getting to the 30 mark or 35, they won't be playing.
Well, I really enjoy playing on it, but I hate the day after is an absolute.
The day after, iron board legs. Yeah, I know it's.
But it's not even that. They're like your joints, your hips, and your knees. Are just horrible.
Even when I've refereed a few games on it does have an effect on you.
How
you don't leave the centre circle.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
How I like to beat that is don't move. It's quite simple.
Stay within a 10-yard circle. All right, so Bill, let's fast forward a bit. You're now at the South. You joined in 2009, did you say?
Yeah. I think I'd done my shift at the Xavs, I think, and I wanted a fresh challenge. And
but you've been there for years as well, hadn't you?
Well, funny enough, people say to me, how long have you been at the South? I've been at the South longer than I was at the Xavs.
Mad that, isn't it?
Yeah, this is my 12th season at the South, and it was 11 seasons, 9 as first team manager, and 2 as or a season and a half as fixture secretary. That wasn't my. Anyway, it was funny because I rang Jimmy up. I'd left the Xavs. I'd made my mind up. I'd gone, and I rang Jimmy up and said, "Anything going?" He said, "Yeah, we're." He said, "There's 2 positions." What? He said, "Assistant manager with the reserves." I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I'm vice chairman." So I said, "Yeah, I'll take the both." I'll introduce you. You meet up with with Carl, who's running the second team, and we'll go and have a pint. Anyway, just click from there, The rest is history,
And what a time that the club has had over that period. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Well, we won the Zingari Cup, beat the Dock in the final, and then we had to win 1 game out of 4, and we lost all 4. APH beat us last game of the season, sent us down. Sorry, Red Rum beat us, sent us down.
Oh, really?
But we'd had the offer. We'd been toying with the idea of going to the West Cheshire. So immediately after the game, the players went. They were all down in the mouth. We had a committee meeting, and we went, right, we're resigning. We're going to West Cheshire. So everyone went, yeah, and that was it. Bang, it snowballed then. Got the ground all upgraded. I got in touch with Phil King to get the scaffold, and we put all the perimeters around. We got the changing rooms. We had to get the changing rooms split, and the showers, separate changing rooms, separate toilets. And it just snowballed. And the first team went over, won the 3rd division, and he went into the 2nd division, of course, so we could move the reserve team into the 3rd division. And basically, the record's been great. It would have been the 6th title since we've gone over there, the 3rd division, 2nd division, and we would have won the 4th 1st division title only for this bloody null and void, all this nonsense from
So you'd won 3 and you were going for the 4th.
Yeah.
And they were doing really well as well last year, weren't they?
Yeah. 8 points clear. And I think 2017 won the treble, won the Pike Cup, won the league, and won the County FA Challenge Cup. And the season before that, we'd done a double, the league and the Challenge Cup. So, we beat Byram in one game. Who were out the county crown, 5-0. Should have seen the face on Ian Dibbett. It was a picture, honestly. He wasn't happy. But it stopped us, this null and void this season, really did. But the way it is now with the Isle of Man going in it, they're not going to be playing in it this season, and it's cocked up completely altogether. So it gives us time to rebuild again, and we're in a position now where I think we're at a point. We've won 4 and drew 1, and there's another team up there who've won 4 out of 4. We've got to play them twice, so we're in more or less pole position again to go up.
I have to say, Bill, the ground and the facilities that you guys have put together, it has been brilliant, and the South's looking strong there. I also think the grass pitch that we have as well, it looks great. It's always done. Fair play to the groundsman, Jimmy, basically. Yeah.
Unsung hero, isn't he?
Oh, it's some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes at amateur football. Local amateur football is phenomenal, and South to the forefront of that, Billy. So, I know Simon and I still playing. Thomas is still managing. We wouldn't be if it wasn't for the South, I don't think, and that's just being honest.
I totally agree. And then, so you've got Jimmy, who we've talked about a bit on the podcast, but who are there's 2 fellas that come, and before we get there, they put the goals up and the nets up with Jimmy and stuff. Who are they?
Oh, that's Bill Woozy and Mal. Now, he's the most important man in the club. Mal, he's the treasurer. But, no, they get there, they all muck in. There's even on first team games, there's lads selling programmes and this, that, and the other. But, it's always been, even though it hasn't been a semi-pro club since 1990, it's always been run on a semi-pro basis, basically. There's a programme before every game. The lads don't have to pay any subs.
Hang on a minute, what?
But not us. We're not, Darren, we're a long way past that, mate.
It's in a way, it's funny, that happened when I first took over the Xavs, and it was Davey Mather, and he said, if you want to attract players, no subs. And for a couple of years, the first team didn't pay subs. And it's the same, if you want to attract players that could be getting 15, 20, 30 pound a game, you're not going to attract them if you say, yeah, you've got to give us a £5. So on that way, we it's in a way, it's a way of attracting players,
Yeah, it's strange that, because I guess I don't even think about that.
No.
Such an attracting players, Bill. Probably, apart from being, the most hated man in amateur football in Liverpool, which you probably are if you don't play for us. One of your biggest skills, especially from the Xavs, which when I joined and become a manager there, and used to come down and watch us, was your skill of getting players in. You were renowned for getting quality players in, and when you needed to make changes and freshen up your team, you'd have new players ready each season, ready to come in and take the star players' positions pretty much every year. So everyone was on their toes, and it improved the likes of Darren and Simon every year. When you left the Xavs, I think a massive hole was created there from the role that you did. I think your skill of attracting players and the job that you did in building that top side there was I think it wasn't celebrated enough. And then when you've gone across to the South, have you sort of had that role? Have you continued that role or tried to continue it, or with being the chairman and sort of there is a backup manager for the reserves? What's your role there now?
Well, it was made a lot easier because Carl had a lot of contacts. Yeah. And Martin's got a black book, it's like the Bible, and they are good at recruiting. And I mean, like Martin, I'd done 9 years at the Xavs and I was knackered. Now, Martin's done nearly 20 years and he's still as keen as mustard, he's there. And if he wants a player, that's why I was going to float and come away from the assistant manager's job. And Martin said, if I get a phone call about a player, will you go and watch him and this, that and the other? So I was going to do that sort of role, but unfortunately it hasn't panned out that way. But no, I used to recruit a lot from the, as I say, refereeing and the University League. But it's in good hands with Martin. really is, like, you know, and you know,
he's funny on match day, Bill. He's like a cat on a hot tin roof. He's
all
over the place. And I guess that's his passion as well. He talked about that when he come on. He's 100 mile an hour and he's 100% all the time. But I think that plays really well for him. That's why he can get good players in.
Oh yeah. As I say, and he's got a lot. You know, the club's got a lot to offer players. You know, it's a well-established club, going places, and you know, the only thing that really pisses me off is, you know, you get these fellas emailing the club and go, we had an email of this fella, and he said he's played for so and so, and he turned up. We had a cross-eyed Polish goalie turn up one time.
Is he available Saturday?
We played him in a friendly against Mossley Hill. It was supposed to be South reserves against Mossley Hill reserves, but Mossley Hill put the first team out, which is a bit of a, you know, it was poor on their behalf. And he stuffed us 5-1. He left 3 in from 35 yards, this lad. And at the end of the day, at the end of the match, he was sitting on the floor in the penalty area crying his eyes out.
Are you joking?
Honestly. So me, Carl and Roachy went for a pint afterwards. And Carl had Jimmy Davis's phone number from the dock, and he rang Jimmy up and said, listen, we've got a goalie here, he's too good for us. We still talk about it now, like, do you want his number? Like, you know, he's got to go. Oh, yeah. But you do get it. You know, you get these fellas who think, you know, delusions of grandeur, I'll play for this, and some of them turn up and they're absolutely awful. Like, but
to be fair, I think Thomas's point is spot on about the gap that you left at the Xavs as well. I think everyone felt it. I think initially it's you don't really see it, but over time it showed. And I think most people who were there during that period would agree as well. You could see it. Thomas was saying that you kept us on our toes by bringing people in all the time. It was crazy, the quality of players that you'd bring in each year. And, you know, we all know how you did it. You refereed, you talked to people, you never left them alone, you phoned them constantly, and then they end up coming down. But that is something that the Xavs has missed. And if you look at we went and watched them actually at the last weekend against the Dock, and it's very different now. I think John Harkin is doing a reasonable job. He's building a decent squad. Seems like a really good football person as well. Wants the club to be like it was many years ago. I love that. I love his passion. But I think he's struggling with getting the quality of players. But no doubt that he'll get that right, because he's had to build it back from a position where they were right at the bottom of the league. He's got them into a place now where they're doing well. But certainly recruitment is a massive thing in any amateur club now.
Oh, I know. One of my best ever signings I was driving past Lance Lane, the Blue Coat playing fields, and there was this 42-year-old goalie pushing the 2 kids in the pram. And I said to him, all right, Ted, what are you doing? He said, I'm living up here now. I said, do you want to come and sign for the Xavs? And the biggest character I've ever met in a change room.
Brilliant.
Without Ted Hennigan, absolutely. Oh, he was the old course. You know, that season the bit he had with us, he was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
you know?
he was great.
Ted was outstanding to play in front of, because he just never shut up. I mean, I thought I could talk on the pitch, but Ted was brilliant. Great goalkeeper, solid goalkeeper. You knew what you were getting. And if it was any hassle, I'd stand behind Ted.
Oh, yeah. Didn't back down at all, did he? I mean, I loved that about Ted. He was always right in the mix-up whenever anything was going on. But also, no matter what happened in the game, he was always the life in the change.
Oh, yeah. And when he signed, Waitsy was out of favour. He was niggling injuries. He gave Waitsy a kick up the arse, and then for 3 or 4 seasons, Waitsy was there most probably one of the best keepers in Liverpool.
I was going to say, I think he got better and better, Waitsy, as he got older.
Yeah. And I think John at the time, he was running the schoolboy squad, and he was this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the other. And then when he got back in playing again, but I think Ted was pretty instrumental in giving Waitsy a kick up the arse to say, get back playing. And John really done well. I remember him, I think he went on a run at one time. I think it was, what would it have been? I left in 2000. I think it would have been about 2008. He went on a run and he kept like 7 clean sheets on the bounce, like, you know.
Yeah. There was a season, Bill, I remember, we only had in 13 goals or something.
That was one when we won the league.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. Absolutely ridiculous.
Was that the one where we only got... Which was the one where we only got beat once in a year? It was the last game of the season against Roma.
That was 2004, and we only got beat once when we won it in 2006, and that was ridiculous. We were playing Terpins at home, and we absolutely destroyed them in the first half.
Yeah.
and we ended up getting beat 5-1.
Yeah, we were useless in the second half, weren't we?
And then the following week, we went down to Red Rum. We thought they'd already won it after 4 games. And Ben scored an overhead kick, Mark Mather scored, and the Falcon was on the line. And
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so listen, the other thing that we want to talk about, Bill, is moving to the professional game. I think we've spent enough time on your amateur days.
Now you're going to need a ciggy.
Is what's been going on over the last couple of days with this project Big Picture. We'll come back. I've still got some questions for you on the amateur stuff, but we want to talk about this before we get into talking about who the best players that you've played with and managed and refed are. But this has been a big thing over the last couple of days. Project Big Picture, put forward by Liverpool and Man United. It's big change or proposed big change, and it's been kicked out over the last 24 hours. What's your take on it?
Well, basically a Super League, wasn't it? The big organisation in this country isn't the FA; it's the Premier League, and that's the top. They've got all the shout, the clout, and I think the Big Six want to take over, have a stranglehold on the Premier League as well. And I'm glad it's been kicked out. There was some proposals it was going to put £250 million a year into the pyramid system, as long as it filtered right the way down, fine. But I think it was a no-go right away. You've got 2 American businessmen, haven't you? You've got the Glazers, and you've got, and it's taken. I'm glad, because we don't want to be looking as the schoolyard bullies. That's what would have been the Big Six.
It felt a little bit like that, didn't it? The fact that Liverpool and United are doing it as well, it just didn't feel right.
No,
I think I don't necessarily, the move from 20 to 18 clubs. I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea, because the reality is there are too many games in a season, and we're constantly complaining about players having to play too often and having to cram games in. So I understand that bit. But some of the stuff that they suggested was just a bit ridiculous. And, getting to this, the top 6 have special voting rights and stuff like that. It does feel like we're being the schoolyard bullies.
Just on that side, the issue I have is that when they go from 20 to 18 clubs, which is fine, the Big Six will then go to China and play games over there to get more money. That's the issue. And I think that if they're going to do that, then that just makes a whole mockery of why they've gone from 20 to 18 clubs. Yeah. Because they've got that market share in China and USA, and that's what the Big Six were going to do. There was a big up.
Thomas, didn't you say that there was it was like a prelude to potentially some sort of European Super League?
It is, yeah. So the bigger picture would be, the Big Six, as we call them now, would get casting votes over the rest of the league, or the rest of the 18 if it was put through. Eventually, they would have a powerful vote over the league and the FA to then create either a new Super League instead of the Champions League, or break away without being hit with any kind of restrictions to set up their own European Super League and leave the league as such. But one of the things I picked up on, there was a lot of good stuff in there, and there's a lot of bad stuff. But one of the things I picked up was Man United and Liverpool claim that in the world, 1 in every 7 people support either Liverpool or Man United. So they're saying there's 1.1 billion Liverpool and Man United fans in the world. Now, when you add all them numbers up compared to other teams, for the likes of West Brom, for example, who are in our league now, not a big supported club. Sorry, Cookster. They are getting the same amount of money as Liverpool and Man United, but it's Liverpool and Man United and Everton, another big side, that are selling the league around the world and geographically have got the most fans around the world, and they're the ones selling it, and selling it in the likes of China, in America, across Europe, South America. So they're saying, well, it's our fans that are watching it. Pay us more money. Why are you paying us the same amount of money as they were paying Bournemouth last year? And that's what they're saying. I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just saying how they're looking at the bigger picture. So if they're saying we've got 1.1 billion fans around the world, why are we getting paid the exact same amount of money as Bournemouth, West Brom, West Ham, who haven't got a lot of fans? That's what they're saying. As well as they want the extra power and the votes. They're saying that, though.
But now, then with the extra votes, you think they're leading towards something with the extra votes, though, don't you?
Yeah, they're definitely leading towards either creating a new Super League, a European one where they will pick the most famous and most supported teams in the world, AC Milan's, Inter Milan's, Real Madrid's. They'll form a league where they play each other over a period of time, not like the Champions League. It'll be a proper league, and that's where the big money and the TV rights and everything, it will explode. They'll get paid 10 times what they're being paid now. But they also don't like the fact that the team that finishes in 20th in the Premiership gets paid the exact same amount of money as the team that finishes first. The only difference in money is
TV rights, as he's talking about.
Oh,
TV
sorry,
rights.
okay.
Yeah, they get paid the same amounts from the Premier League. They get paid for the positions that they finish in the league. So if you finish first, you get so much more money than they do from finishing bottom. But there's a load of, like I say, there's a load of good things. If you develop your ground, you would get money for developing your ground from this Premier League deal or the new deal that they were proposing. There was lots of stuff in it that was really good. They were offering 250 million to the lower league teams. They were offering 25% of all TV revenue going forward after this season to the lower league every year, where they only get 4% now. So you're talking about a lot of money going down through the leagues. It was all about this voting system, which rightly has been voted down. I don't agree with that. But some of the stuff they put forward was really good and would really help the teams that are struggling now. Yeah,
but Thomas, it was a short-term fix for a long-term problem. And I also think that was almost like a sweetener.
Okay.
Yeah, keep this, here's a sweetener. We're going to go away and break away. And actually, when you looked at the clubs that wanted to create this, there was this top six, so-called top six. I don't know if you call them top six now, because some of them are 14th and 16th in the league. But the other team was Southampton, Tottenham and West Ham. That was the 9 who were going to have these voting rights. And so you look and you think, okay, we'll have to pick that because it's the longest reign they've been in the Premier League or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But the Premier League sells because on any given day, as it's seen against Villa Liverpool, any team can beat anybody. The reason the German league doesn't sell as much as anybody, because Bayern Munich generally win the league every year. The Southampton manager brought a great topic up today. He was saying the reason the Premier League is sold worldwide is because it's exciting, and every 2 or 3, 4 years, someone else wins the league. Germany, it doesn't happen. Spain very rarely happens, so is Barcelona or Madrid. And that's why the Premier League, and you need those teams. That's why I love the FA Cup, because the teams at the bottom in second division, first division, can beat someone in the Premier League. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of the game. The underdog, that's brilliant. When Leicester won it, everyone's going, what's going on? It was the beauty that Leicester won it. And it broke up that monopoly. It was, but people live for the romance.
Yeah, definitely.
People don't want to see. I mean, we grew up in the 80s, and Liverpool and Everton were brilliant in the 80s, and it was fantastic for the city. Then United and Arsenal dominated in the 90s. Then Chelsea got a load of money, and it was almost like, okay, like they're going to win it, they're going to win it, and then they're going to win it. I like the fact now, and I'm not just saying this, that at the moment, the so-called top six haven't quite kicked off yet.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And I quite like the Premier League the way it is at the moment, not just because we're second with a game in hand, and hopefully we'll win that against City.
You have to mention.
But isn't it quite exciting, the fact that the top six look like the top six?
Yeah.
Well, Billy will remember this. When they went to form the Premier League, I've seen some press cuttings today when I was reading about this big project or whatever it's called.
Project Big Picture.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, you know what my memory's like. But the press release was very, very similar to what I'm reading about this, and it was Man United, Liverpool, Everton, Tottenham. They were the 4 bigger supported teams at the time. No Man City, they weren't even mentioned. They weren't even a daydream then. We're forming this big league. They want to leave the FA. They want to cut ties with the FA. They want to set this up. And there was a load of hoo-ha in the paper about it. And I was reading it today. It was really good. And a few months later, they formed the Premier League. And I think what's going on here, these clubs have got massive amounts of power. They've got massive amounts of pull. And I think some kind of morph of what they've proposed will start seeing stuff dripping out over the next couple of months for them to something will come of it, I think, eventually.
Well, the seed's definitely being planted. just going to have to see how it pans out, because, as I say, it is like a bully and a gun to the head.
Yeah.
For some clubs, this the Premier League as it stands, if you get relegated, you get parachute money, and we all know the richest game of football is the playoff to come back into the Premier League. There's, but no, it doesn't sit right. This.
Well, do you know what? Our club has done so much. You're a red like me and Thomas. Our club has done so much good over the last few years. But the last 12 months or so, we made a couple of mistakes, and I think this is one of them. I think the Fairlow issue was the first one, and this is another way. You just think it's a bit of an odd approach for a club that is trying to be, a club for Liverpool people. Seems a little bit odd to be going out this way.
And we already got one of those clubs.
The People's Club.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I'm feeling I'm fighting you three on my own here. Don't forget, Liverpool tried to, it was a patent, the name Liverpool, so South Liverpool couldn't have had it in their title.
Maybe that's the third one.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
They come in threes, all right, so let's just leave it there.
Jimmy went for a meeting with Peter Moores. Nice Peter Moores being a Garson lad, said he got no worries, Jim.
I love it. All right, Bill. So listen, to finish off, I want a couple of things from you. I want three things.
Right.
Best player you've managed.
Yeah.
Best player you've refereed.
Yeah.
And best player you've played with or against. So let's start with who you've played with or against. So given that your memory is ridiculous.
Best player I ever played with?
Yeah.
Why is he Kenny Deacon?
Really? Was he that good?
The year we won the Zingari in 1980, he was playing for Dingle Rail. They won the Premier Cup, the Sunday League Premier Division, and it was then changed because Ken Gillies had died from the Challenge Cup to the Ken Gillies Cup. So he picked up 4 major medals. The following year, they won the Premier Cup again, then the National Cup. Kenny was so adaptable. Hard as nails, quick, goal scorer. I always remember him watching the Premier Cup semi-final against the Fantail, and the Rail was struggling for a centre-back. Kenny played sweep and marked John O'Leary out the game. Never give O'Leary a kick. Absolutely top draw. Absolutely
brilliant.
Top.
That's a good one.
There again, best player. I could also say Stevie Coppell as well, couldn't I?
yeah.
Billy,
let's leave it as Kenny Deacon.
Billy, is that Paul Deacon's dad? No.
No, that was he was Martin's number 2.
Okay.
He managed Mossley Hill and got recruited, and him and Mart were manager and assistant manager for about 10 or 12 years. And Kenny had a heart attack on the line about 2 years ago. So Big Dave Kringle's stepped in now, to help Martin. And Kenny just comes and watches like what.
Yeah, Darren, you'd know him if you've seen him.
Yeah.
All right. So, best player that you've refereed. Now, this is a difficult one because you refereed in the Football League. So let's leave the Football League out of it and let's say at amateur level. Who's the best player you've refereed? It's a hard one, that, isn't it? Because think about the players you've
locally.
Don't forget, you've managed me as well. You've refereed me.
Everyone goes on about Leighton McGivern.
Yeah.
But Leighton knew where he stood with me because his first game or his first season in the Sunday League, he was playing for the Brit, and it was I think it was against the Flathouse down at Maiden Lane, and I sent him off. And he knew where he stood. And you know what? People say, "Oh, I had a terrible problem with Leighton McGivern," and all. He knew where he stood, and there was a mutual respect there. I respected his his ability, and he respected me. And I never, ever, all the times I refereed Leighton after that, never had a problem.
He was brilliant. Yeah. What a footballer he was, mate. He was an absolute nightmare to play against. Brilliant footballer.
As I said, there's been a lot. Then again, refereed Tony Kelly. Now Tony was a pro, played for the Allerton when he finished. And he could see why he was a pro. He was brilliant, Tony. Yeah. Ryan Lowe refereed Ryan in his younger days. Now I think he's managed at Plymouth or Portsmouth now.
Yeah, good awful lad, yeah.
Yeah, there's some top quality lads that come through the the Sunday League. Honestly, do really well. Billy Kenny refereed Billy Kenny when he was. I remember him run the Derby game one time, and next minute he's playing for the Sand, and
We only asked you for one.
Yeah, no, you need to come up with one. Who's your one?
Like,
yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I've said it before. I think he's the best player I've played against.
Yeah.
Although we have had some good games against them, which I like to remember.
Yeah.
So then the last one is best player you've managed. Now you've been at the South and the Xavs for years, and you've had loads of players come through there. Who would you say is the best player you've managed?
You know what I'm going to say.
I know exactly who you're going to say. I can call it. Now, however, I think you're getting the names mixed up.
You may be wrong here.
Okay. All right.
I would say Danny's nephew. He was different class, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul was ridiculous. I mean, again, imagine you think about Leighton and Paul. Imagine those two played in the same team.
Bloody hell, I know.
The thing for me, Bill, is what frustrated me, not just as a player, but as a brother as well, is he could have gone so far in the game. And I say that to everyone. I used Paul. When I used to run Kirby Boys, I used to use Paul as an example of wasted talent. The guy, you know, yeah, he was my brother. And you know, we have this relationship, love-hate relationship. For 90 minutes, we hated each other. But he was, what people don't really get is, he was doing things back in the amateur level when we played, that if it was a professional on the telly, he'd be getting awards and all sorts. And I'm not just saying that. I remember one goal he scored. He was playing for St. Helens Town. The goalkeeper, Lee Hughes, I think it was, kicked the ball. Before it bounced on, he was just inside his own half. The ball came, didn't bounce. The guy got right up his backside. Paul flicked it over his head in their half and put it in the top corner. And it was just like everyone in the ground, literally, their manager, everyone stopped and clapped. I think I was having crisps at the time. I didn't really notice. But he would do things that other players could never do. I never had his ability. I blame mum and dad for that, to be honest with you. But he was an exceptional goal scorer. And Adam, you talked about Adam Jones before. His dad used to say to me and my dad, he said, you can't coach where he stands in the box.
No.
Because he just knows where the ball's going to go. And you know, he was exceptional. But I'll let you tell him, Billy, because I don't want to talk to him.
No, a good player will always find space in the box. A goal scorer, they sniff it out. But I remember the first time I watched Paul. I think it must have been first season in charge of the Xavs, and it was Manweb against I don't know, the Yorkshire Copper Tube. It was Billy Roberts' team, and it was the final of the Challenge Cup at McGull, and he scored from the dugout. He done Robbie Bowler from the dugout on the wing, and Robbie was a decent keeper, like, you know. And Manweb won it 1-0. Did you play in that game?
Yeah, possibly not. No.
You
know, I think Paul. See, I was younger, so I was just I think I was in the reserves, and Paul was in the first team at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, Billy, I was brilliant in the reserves. Just one like that.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So worth a mention for our mate Bill Ben Williams as well, because he's got to come close.
Yeah, Ben. You know, it's 2 years next month, isn't it? And
it is, yeah.
It's still.
What a talent he was, eh?
Oh, you know, I always remember he'd go through
the shimmy.
The shimmy, shake the hips, and he'd done it for the third goal against Red Rum. That more or less won us the league.
He did, yeah.
But also a talented centre half as well, mate.
Yeah. Well, you compared to him as well, mate. He was a centre forward until you got older.
Talented in the middle of the park as well. He was.
But he was an all-round. He was an all-round quality footballer, wasn't he? He was just great on the ball. So I remember Thomas used to come and watch us, and the player he would talk about most was not Paul Partey; it was Ben Williams.
I can't remember ever seeing your Paul play, but Ben Williams. I was at you were playing on the Manweb or playing against Manweb, and I seen the goalie. He took it. He was playing centre half on the day, and their goalie whacked one right down the pitch. And I'd never seen a player. He jumped up. The ball was coming at him like a torpedo in the sky. He just jumped up and just caressed it on his chest. It stopped dead. And he must have been about 3 or 4 foot in the air when he'd done it. And he brought it down, stuck to his chest. He landed. It was still stuck on his chest. And then it just, like Teflon, then rolled down. And he stopped it on his toe. and like people run at him from everywhere. Their forwards are at him, and he just nonchalantly just knocked it away. And I was like, oh my God, who's this God?
Have you styled your hair on, Ben, now? Because you've got a bit of a quiff going there, Thomas.
Yeah.
Billy. Oh, sorry. I played with Ben at Man Utd for a couple of games. He was a left midfield winger type player, a young kid. Yeah, he was, because I played left back and he was the left winger. And he said to me, just give it to Ben and just support him. By the time he was coming back with the ball, I was going the other way trying to catch him up. It was just like, he was thin, he was quick, he was tall. Yeah, I hated him.
Had everything, didn't he?
When he had the ponytail, then was it, Darren?
The ponytail. No, I missed the ponytail.
Terrible.
The ponytail in his early doors. When he first signed for the Xavs, Formby will tell you next time you bump into him, But now he's, he was my captain, trusted him. He's a tremendous player. So sadly missed. A great loss of football, really is.
Definitely. And I think you're right, a great loss for all of football as well. He was well known around the city. In fact, there's talk now about us doing a tournament at the end of the season for in memory of Ben, but also for Michael London, who's got MND, played for teams like the Seymour, A3, and more recently the Dock, Waterloo Dock. So we're talking about doing a tournament at the end of the year. I think that's a brilliant thing because Mike is struggling. And obviously we want to remember Ben. And because they were both so well known and so well respected around football, everyone wants to get involved. So I think that'll be brilliant. So we'll have a great time doing that.
Well, they both played when Ben did play for the Seymour for a few games. As I say, I think it was with Brody as well because Jason was playing.
Jason,
good player, Jason.
He was another one of the ones that you used to bring in when we were struggling for players.
I'd often turn up site and go, Billy, who am I playing with centre half today? He'd be like, Brody today. Oh, all right, okay.
But the best thing about Brody was brilliant and also rock hard.
Yeah.
I remember we never had a great start in that new county prem, and it was towards the end of the season. All right, we got our act together, but there was a possibility of going in as Zingari champions and getting relegated. So I thought something's got to be done here. And we were playing Roma, and they were doing all right. And then we turned up, and I got Brody into play. Stuart Daly's face was a picture when he saw Brody walking through. And I played Jason and Matty Williams up front. And I think the ball came over. Jason nodded it back to Matty, and Matty met it full on the volley, and it right in the top corner. We ended up beating them 3-0. Then it was role reversal at the end. Roma were in danger of going down. We were comfortable. We put a really good run together,
He was brilliant at the time. He was one of the most difficult players to handle in the city. He was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Great, good lad as well. He's. But there was a few I'd say all right. I signed a few players that had a bit of a reputation. I signed Jason. He was banned out the county comp.
Yeah.
Ban never extended to the Zingai. Never had an ounce of trouble. Prime example, Nicky Ayres, never had Nicky played for us. Never had an ounce of trouble with Nicky at all. So I think it might have been just some players needed to get out of the environment they're in to produce the goods.
The club was good and the group of lads were good as well. So I think it's a lot about who you're surrounded with and how other people respond. Because we were all there for each other. No one was turning up on a Saturday to fight. People were turning up to play football, and then we had players who could look after themselves if needed, but it wasn't about that. And I think that was what made the Xavs a good team in those days to play for, because you had a great group of lads. You had a massive impact on who was at the club, how the club was run. Had a massive impact on certainly me and Darren from a playing perspective over the years. I mean, you got me to the Xavs. I'd have never signed for the Xavs if it wouldn't have been for you. And a lot of people can say the same. They wouldn't have got involved with the Xavs, wouldn't have made the friends that they've made over the years. You've got a long history in the game, mate, and we're happy you come on and give us a talking to for an hour and a half.
I think the most pleasing thing about the two championships we won at the Xavs, we also won the Zingari Sportsmanship Award.
Yeah.
So it proves 2 years on the 2 years, we had the least cautions, very rarely got a sending off. And that's a pleasing thing, because as a referee, you wouldn't want to be getting involved with someone, a club that are getting, lads sent off. So the discipline that I had, was installed, and everyone bought into it. We all sang from the same hymn sheet, and it was a very pleasurable time. But time's moved on. I'm enjoying my football now, and basically the little brainchild 2 years ago to get all the lads back together. You're all back playing, and
it's worked out, mate. And we're very happy for it. We're loving it at the South. We're having a great time. Looking forward to Saturday, because now we know the game is on.
Billy, I hate you around about Saturday at 5:30 when I can't move, but by the time Friday comes, I've forgiven you again.
All right, Bill, listen, thank you very much for coming on, mate. We really appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll get you on again soon. We've been talking about you so much on these podcasts. It's good that people have got to meet you. Been a pleasure, boys. I've never, on a Thursday night, gone without a cigarette for an hour and a half. All right, mate, see you soon. See you soon, Bill. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right, so that was brilliant. Billy was fantastic. He's a real character, isn't he? Oh, it's like, you know what? When you play for Billy, you're always one of Billy's boys. Even now, I dread... I don't know whether you can say that. Well, yeah, no, I think... Hang on. No, you can, yeah. I even now don't answer a phone call to Billy on a Friday, just in case. Yeah. Yeah, we all do that. Yeah. I'm all worried about a call for him wanting to pinch our goalie. Our goalie's come down with something. Any chance we can borrow yours? The stories are brilliant, aren't they? Oh, yeah. I don't know how he remembers that much detail about nearly every game he's managed, played, refereed. It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So we found out today he's 65 years old as well, which none of us knew. No, no, that's the Siggies. Yeah, he's been in football. He said his first management job was at 21. Yeah, it's a long time to be involved in managing football teams, isn't it? Yeah. But you know what? He's one of the people that he draws people to him and his clubs and his teams, and he'll play, everyone wants to play there, and you might play for 3 games or 300 games with Billy. You're always there. What gets me is he never tried to sell anyone gas or a lecky online where you had an opportunity there. Yeah, when he generally does. There is something about Billy, though. He's Marmite, isn't he? Yeah. If you play for him or you're around him and you're involved with him, you absolutely love him. But some of the opposition I've seen down, absolutely hate him. Well, for years, Thomas, we used to get crap off opposition teams because Billy was the manager. So there'd be murder in the games. There'd be all sorts of fighting going on. And it was all over Billy saying something on the line or having given a bad decision a week before when he was refereeing the game. Or sending someone off on the Sunday. Exactly. Well, as I said earlier, he sent my dad off 3 times in a row. My dad has literally never forgiven him. Do you know what, though? To be fair to Billy, he always wants to win. Yeah. Great character of the game. He's one of them guys in Liverpool who keep amateur football ticking over. And we've mentioned a couple of them on the show, Jimmy and a couple of others, the lads who are at the Dark and APH and all those people, that older generation who keep amateur football going. And the big fear is, in 10 years, 15, 20 years, the amateur game has already shrunk. Billy was somebody who had 9 leagues in Zingari. It's all down to maybe 2 or 3 now, possibly. I don't know. And but that's struggling. Yeah, and that's because there's a generation of Billy's age who want to keep it going. Yeah. But unfortunately, it's I see it struggling in the next 15 years. And I think there's not many people coming through that are of that kind of mind and love the game as much as that. Yeah. So we went and watched Old Xavs versus Waterloo Dock last week. And Jimmy Davis was on the line. Jimmy Davis, who's been running the Dock for years and years. He doesn't manage it anymore, but he's still there. He's still involved. He's similar to Billy. He's been around the game all of his life. Loves it that much. Supports the lads all the time. I just don't think there's characters like that anymore. I'd like to think that I'll stay involved in football, but I don't think you could ever give it the commitment that Billy's given it. No. And to be fair, I think we must thank his wife, Karen. Yeah. Who behind the scenes loves pushing Billy out the door on Saturday. So she's got the day to herself. I think we've done her a massive favour. I don't know whether we should get like a plaque or something off her or something, She's a saint, that absolute saint, that woman. But yeah, no, it was brilliant. It was really good. I really enjoyed that. So listen, before we wrap up, Daz, any final thoughts on the Billy Birch episode? Yeah, I just want to publicly thank Billy for the memories in the game, the people I've met in the game, and the fact that we can do this and we look back and we think, how on earth did we get away with that? And the players we've played with,
good players you've played with was because of Billy. So, you know, thanks, Bill. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Oh, and the 4 Player of the Year awards I won on the run. Thanks, Billy. Much appreciated.
Yeah, because they were all fixed.
And they scraped Paul out.
They spelled Paul wrong. Thomas, how about you?
I'm going to ignore Billy and just say, obviously, there's a massive spike in coronavirus in Liverpool. Just be safe. Please be keep your social distancing up. Stay safe. Keep an eye on each other. And if you know anyone that's vulnerable or needs help, get out there and try and give them a call. Make sure they're all right. It's massive at the moment, and people need support. So do your best.
Oh, he's like a saint, isn't he, Dad?
Sorry, I just got something in my eye there, Si. It's very emotional.
Well, Darren's crying again. I think you're spot on, Daz, with your perspective on Billy. Such a good fella. I think I said it when he was on. Had a massive impact on my football career. I'd have never gone to Xavs. Would never have had the friendships that we've had. We've got some amazing memories. Obviously, never as good as Billy's memories, because that is ridiculous. But he's created an environment for people to meet new people, play in amazing teams, win trophies together, gain amazing experiences, and he's continuing doing it at the South as well and doing a great job. So we appreciate it. We really appreciate him coming on. His stories are hilarious, and we'll definitely get him on again at some point in the future. So listen, have a good week. As Thomas says, stay safe, stay away from anyone that's got coronavirus, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yep, see you boys. Take care.